that started yesterday with Joe Buck, and he'll be there today, and we'll have a chance to visit with Tom a little later in the show and just kind of get a feel for what that's like. If you haven't been to it, it's something you probably put on your bucket list because it is a pretty cool setup. I mean, it's nestled in a nice little lake community, and all the people who come back for it. It may be a little toasty over there today, like it's going to be here in St. Louis, but in any event, we'll talk with Tom, get his thoughts on what he's seen. The guys go in today. Carlos Beltran, one of the best players I've seen, one of the best switch hitters, and maybe one of the most elegant gentlemen you'll ever run across. And there's Jeff Kent. He'll be going in as well. And Andrew Jones is probably the best center fielder, or one of the best center fielders of his time. Those three will go in this afternoon. So we congratulate them. And, of course, Joe Buck going in yesterday, receiving the Ford Frick Award and the broadcaster's wing. So we'll hear from Tom. And I know Tom had a sit-down with him that you will hear right here on KMOX a little later in the show. Also, we have Cardinal baseball today. Don't know whether you heard or not. It's Kids Day at the ballpark. So if you're looking for the youngins to have some fun, I'd bring them down here. Now, I don't think I need to warn you, but I'll do it anyway because everybody else talks about it. Let's make sure we consume as much water as we can. Fluids are important today. I know some of you will get something that will be a little stronger. That's on you, but let's stay hydrated. We want to be able for you to enjoy the game and enjoy the environment. So take care of yourself because it is going to be warm today. But then again, it's July, so I don't know why anybody would think it's going to be any different where you think you need to bring a wrap or a sweater. There's no need for that. But come on down. We're going to have some fun. Hopefully we'll have as much fun as we had last night with the Cardinals shut out Cincinnati. And we don't see many games like that. And what was really interesting, it was a week ago today when the Cardinals had a 7-0 lead going into the fifth inning. And I'm saying to Ricky Horton, I said, for some reason, I'm just not comfortable with this. And you all know what happened after that. But that wasn't going to happen last night. Andre Palante was terrific last night. He got plenty of offense behind him. When you think about everybody in the order either had a hit or scored a run or drove in a run. So a lot of fun to be had last night. Let's see if we can carry it into today because we have the Chicago Cubs coming in for 4 starting tomorrow before the Redbirds go back out on the road. So a lot of baseball still to be played here in St. Louis, meaningful baseball. And we'll have a chance to talk at length with Tom Ackerman about what he's seeing. We'll also talk with Chaim Bloom. And, of course, a Sunday would be incomplete if you don't have a Bernie Miklasz. We'll have a chance to talk with him. And we will also talk soccer as somebody woke up City. I mean, they're on a run. They win again last night, and so good for them, and we'll talk a little bit about what's coming up for them. And I thought it was important this week. They won. They played on Wednesday, and then they come right back on Saturday. Normally you don't see teams play that close together, but that's the way the league is set up. I mean, if you know anything about the MLS, I mean, it's like a 13-month schedule. I mean, I don't know. Do they ever take time off other than for the World Cup? It is a grueling schedule. And City is rocking and rolling right now. So if you get a chance to go out and see them, I would certainly suggest that because between them and the Cardinals, we're in a pretty good spot right now. So let's have some fun while we can because we all know things can change at the drop of a dime when it comes to our teams and their success. So we have baseball today. Again, it's going to be warm out there. We'll talk some baseball with Tom Ackerman as well, also the Hall of Fame. And we'll talk with Bernie about a myriad of things. Chaim Bloom, we'll get a chance to visit with him. And I'm sure, like everybody else, and if you cross paths with anyone, the first question is, are they going to make a move? What are they going to do? And I'm going to ask Chaim that until he's blue in the face, or me. And we just don't know. The market's a little quiet right now. I think, obviously, it's going to heat up. But my first question would be, what are you looking for? I mean, I think we know what you'd like to have, but are you getting something for now to contend, or are you getting something that you say this is going to be a huge piece to what next season looks like? Because let's face it, this was a season of evaluation and trying to get a feel for who you are and where you're going. So now I think over 100 games in, you kind of know who you are, and you kind of know what you need. Is it internally? Some of it. Is there someone out there that you'd like to have? Sure there is. Now, how do you acquire that? And what assets do you have that you are willing to move on? I was having a conversation with someone this morning about the whole process of a trade or acquiring players. And the one question I always ask myself, if there's a player out there, you say to yourself, well, why is he available? If he's that good, why is he available? And that way you have to dig under the fingernails and find out, is he a good player? Is he injury prone? Does he have issues? I mean, because good players are made available because you don't want them anymore and you think you can find something better than you have. Well, if you think you can find somebody better, then why are you moving him? So just little things to think about as you put together your trade board, more or less, as far as what you're trying to do and how you want it to fit for this year and certainly going into next year. And then also you have to remember this. What do you have to give? What do you have to trade? And I know it's easy to mention the usual suspects, but, they have to play well too. I mean, just because, let's get such and such and we can move him at the trade deck. Well, it'd be a good idea if he was playing well. And some guys are playing better than others, and some guys make themselves more attractive. But just because we want to move them doesn't mean somebody wants to take them. So you got to take that into account. Just random thoughts here as we're getting set for more sports on a Sunday morning. It comes your way in just a bit because Tom Ackerman will join us in the next segment, followed by a visit with he and Joe Buck right here on the Voice of the Cardinals, KMOX, St. Louis.
The Redbird Recap is sponsored by Helitech Waterproofing and Foundation Repair. Heal your home with Helitech.
Helitech Waterproofing and Foundation Repair is offering 50% off labor on qualifying projects. If you're seeing cracks, leaks, or sinking concrete around your home, don't wait. Let the Helitech experts identify the problem and provide proven solutions to protect your home and your investment. Call Helitech or visit helitechonline.com to schedule your free inspection today.
Heal your home with Helitech.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Food truck owners, today business will be booming. People will love your new menu and not make special orders. You will not roll your eyes when someone calls it a quesadilla. You will also switch to Progressive to get 30 customizable coverage options and restore your inner peace. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage is not available in all states or for all vehicles and covered selections.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe 10, take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-358-6868. That's 800-358-6868. Again, 800-358-6868.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
Welcome back, everybody. We are in the Stifel Financial Studio. We packed everything up and brought it over to Busch Stadium and set it up here in our studio here. And it's a pretty good-looking setup. But we'll talk about that later because we're going to go to Cooperstown, and standing by is one of our own. He's a sports director at KMOX, and he is part of the Hall of Fame festivities that are taking place in Cooperstown, and that is Tom Ackerman. Tom, good morning, sir.
Claibs, good morning. How are you?
I'm fantastic. You've been there before, and I find that, like, each sport, whether it's Cooperstown, or Springfield, Massachusetts for basketball, or Canton for football. Toronto is the only major city, a large city that houses the Hockey Hall of Fame. For people who haven't been there, kind of set the scene on what it's like to be in this small community where everything is focused on one subject, that be it the game of baseball.
Yeah, it's really special. You know, you and I went to the Pro Football Hall of Fame together, and I really want to go here with you because you know everybody. And like when you walk down the street in Cooperstown, all you do is run into former players and famous people in baseball history. And it's incredibly special. You know, I hear a lot of people give the recommendation to go to Cooperstown when there isn't an induction ceremony because it's nice and quiet and quaint and it's a nice vacation town, as you described. But I think you would agree with me. You want to come here for an induction. I mean, it is like walking through baseball history. I mean, especially if you have the opportunity to see the Ota saga. I mean, you're sitting there at dinner and, you know, there's Andre Dawson at one table and there's Ted.
I think we might have lost him there for a second. We'll get reconnected with Tom. I'm thinking about the last time I went to the Hall of Fame. Maybe I'll remind Bernie Miklasz of this. Bernie Miklasz, myself, Bob Ramsey. Trying to think of who else went with us. And we went for Ozzy, so that tells you it was some time ago. Rob King, who was working at Channel 11 at the time. And there was someone else. Anyway, we found a little out-of-the-way place to have a refreshment or two. And it was, okay. So I'm telling the story time the last time I was there with Bernie and Rammer. And we found this little out-of-the-way community pub, for lack of a better term. And it was a very interesting evening because they weren't used to the foreigners rolling into their bar. And I remember when we walked out, Bernie said, "You know, I don't think this place will ever be the same." And it was let's put it this way: the natives, they probably again, they weren't really comfortable with the foreigners hanging out. They told us about some great bars down the street, and I think Rammer said, "No, we like this one." And so anyway, we had a good night. But I think people should check it out if you're a fan of the game. And like you said, you're going to see so many people that you normally wouldn't see. And it says what they think of what this weekend is all about.
Absolutely. And if I cut out again, I'll just call in and we'll do it over the phone. But I think that this is a very, very special place where you're literally walking through baseball history. You see people that you've been following your entire life, the fans who come here. And part of it obviously is to be here for Joe, and we're going to hear his speech coming up in about 10 or 15 minutes. We'll air it here on the show. But also, Claibs, I wanted to be here because I know in 2 years, I'm starting to scout out what this is going to be like for us. I've been here a few times, but in 2028, we're looking at a very, very special day in Cardinals history with Albert Pujols and probably Yadier Molina. They should be together, going into the Hall of Fame together in the class of 2028. And Cardinals fans should start making their plans now to get here because, as you said, it is a small town. Accommodations are scarce, and you're going to want to be here to see two of the legends in Cardinals history. And that when those things do happen, so when in this case you see Braves and Giants and Mets fans for Jones and Kent and Beltran, but when you have a massive following like that, you can take over the town, and the Cardinals are very well represented in this town. You go through the museum, all you see are displays going through Cardinals history. It's unbelievably impressive. And as I mentioned, Ted Simmons is here. Saw Scott Rowland here, how proud he is. I got to see their plaques with the Cardinals cap on them for the first time since I had been here last. It's incredibly rewarding as a baseball fan to do it once in your life.
I would agree with you. Two things. It would behoove baseball, the schedule makers, seeming that they continue to mess it up, to make sure that maybe the Cardinals might be playing in that part of the country when the Hall of Fame ceremony takes place. Because I think that would be a nice matchup. I mean, it's inevitable that these two guys are going to go in, and as you mentioned, 28 certainly sounds like I don't know many 700 home run guys that are going to sit at home other than Barry Bonds on the first ballot. So I would think that that's going to be something that they could get out in front on and maybe have a schedule where the Cardinals will be playing in the vicinity. The other thing I wanted to bring up was Bill White got the Buck O'Neil Award. And for me personally, Bill White was my guy growing up. Bill White was, and I've said this countless times, aside from Jackie Robinson, Bill White had more impact on African-American baseball and its players than anyone else, period. What he meant to players on and off the field, his jobs within baseball, being a former president of the National League, and just all the other things he was able to do. It's just great to just know that he was part of that. Former Cardinal, Red Jacket owner as well. Bill White definitely should be part of this.
Yeah, and I thought of you yesterday.
And a KMOX alumni.
Absolutely.
He started at KMOX.
He started at KMOX, and the first African-American play-by-play announcer in baseball history when he did that with the Yankees. And he was and still is a great ambassador for the game. But then when he was president of the National League and, got to oversee the Marlins and the Rockies coming into the league and a great just face of the National League to be able to represent, because he's such a gentleman and professional, great player too. I mean, 4 different seasons with over 100 RBIs. And and
he was Bob Gibson's roommate. And I'll tell you a quick story. Back then there was no ESPN and no late night TV, so you just stay in your room and you talk. And Bob said, "Hey, one of these days, one of us is going to get traded, and I'm just going to let you know, don't ever try and go on the outside corner and pull a pitch if I throw it there." And Bill didn't think much of it. So the next year, he gets traded to Philadelphia, and lo and behold, Bob throws a slider away. Bill tried to pull it and he hit it foul. The very next pitch, Bob hit him and broke his elbow, hit him in his right elbow. And White's going down the line screaming, cursing at Gibson. And Gibson came off the mound and said, "Man, I told you not to go out there." That night they had dinner that night, and Bill's got the big ice pack on the elbow. But an incredible person, phenomenal leader. He did so many things for so many players coming up in the game, and for him to be recognized by baseball is truly an honor. And I'm just happy to say that he meant a lot to me in my quest to do what I'm doing and just even playing the game itself.
Well, I think you'd be happy to know that at the beginning of the award ceremony yesterday, when they all came out on stage, so we're talking about, the Jane Forbes Clark and Josh Rawich, the president of the Hall of Fame. Joe Buck walked out, as did Paul Hoynes, the longtime Cleveland Indians and now Cleveland Guardians writer, and Bill White. And when Bill White came out and they were helping him get into his seat, the whole place stood and gave him the standing ovation. This is before the ceremony even started. Just the understanding of how big of a moment that was, that Bill White was in the room with us. And then he was the one who closed the ceremony with a great presentation and multiple standing ovations for him. It really was special to be there for both Joe and for Bill with their KMOX connections.
Hey, I know we're going to hear Joe's speech, and I'm happy that you had a chance to be there for that. I've seen bits and pieces of it, and you know Joe as well as anyone. I'm sure Joe was witty and sharp as he always is, and appreciative of the day.
Yeah, I'll just say this to set it up so I don't spoil it. But when he said, and then I was standing up and I had a warm moment where I saw a father and son, San Francisco Giants fans. And as he starts that story, I start chuckling because I know how it ends. It's really funny. So that's in the middle of the speech. And, because he does poke some fun at himself, as he always does, self-deprecating. He talks about some of the criticism that he received. He talks about, obviously, nepotism and how that helped him. But he also was very proud. And he said, I'm going to leave all of that on this stage here today. And I think that's appropriate because as he moves forward, he should be very proud of his body of work and what he was able to accomplish in baseball. And baseball has changed. And he describes that as well. He makes a pretty big statement about that in his speech as well.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing it. It's coming up in just a bit. Tom, I'm glad you had a chance to inhale this weekend. You know what? There's a lot of things that we do in our business that we've come to appreciate, but having a day like this yesterday and then being part of today, watching three really good players go in. Yeah. I mentioned Beltran, who was one of my favorites, just the coolest cat you'll ever run across. In those 2 years here in St. Louis, this is post-Albert. And he was just everything you'd hope for, being an all-star and just how he carried himself. Jeff Kent, really good player, probably should have been in before now, but Jeff Kent didn't get along with everybody on certain occasions, and it's unfortunate that it comes down to that sometimes. And Andrew Jones, man, I mean, what can you say about him defensively? He made it look very easy, and I think sometimes he was misjudged because he made it look easy compared to some others. But those three guys are certainly deserving. I don't know if you have it in front of you now. Who are we looking at for next year?
I don't have it in front of me now, but I think, trying to remember, we were chatting about it. I don't know if any of the huge names jump out at me, but I'm probably wrong about that. I'd have to look at it. But I agree with you on Jones. I thought that Jones should have been in earlier. I think that Kent, isn't it interesting that Kent is in before Barry Bonds?
Yeah.
And, and then you have Beltran, who you described him well. I mean, just a gentleman, a great player, switch hitter. I know that a lot of Cardinals fans remember him for being frozen by the Wainwright curveball, but they had to have a middle of the order bat, and they got it in 2013, and he helped take this team to the World Series. They don't do it without Carlos Beltran.
There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well, listen, man, enjoy the rest of the day. I look forward to seeing you back here in St. Louis, and we'll share a few more stories, I'm sure, between now and then. So have a good time there, man, and we'll have Joe's speech coming up in just a bit. So I'll see you next week.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.
All right. He's Tom Ackerman. I'm Mike Claiborne. We'll take a break. We'll come back. If you didn't hear Joe Buck's speech from yesterday, you're going to hear it in just a bit right here on KMOX.
It's Tom Ackerman. Circa Sports is the best sports app. Absolutely love it. Circa Sports isn't just sports betting. It's sports betting the way it should be. This is a big week for soccer. Big week for soccer. It is absolutely fun. And Circa Sports is all over it. High betting limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service. That's probably what I love about it the most, is that Circa Sports is very customer-friendly. It's very easy to use. Whether you're looking for futures, you're looking for props on players, Circa Sports has you covered. Soccer is so much more fun by using the Circa Sports app. I think you're going to really enjoy it. All you have to do is download the Circa Sports app. Circa, C-I-R-C-A, Sports is the app, or visit circasports.com today. Circa Sports. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
KMOX Weekend at Your Service. Sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
Celebrate the month of July with Zero Res and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129. Get your air ducts cleaned for $599 per unit. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings. That's ZeroResSTL.com.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Congress doesn't need more politicians. For nearly 30 years, Joan Von Dross dedicated her life to helping students learn, grow, and succeed. Now she's running for Congress to fight for lower healthcare costs, stronger public schools, and a more affordable future for Missouri families. Teachers solve problems. Politicians play politics.
I'm Joan Von Dross, Democrat from Missouri CD2, and I approve this message. Vote for me on August 4th.
Paid for by Von Dross for Congress.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight discussing sarcomas with Dr. Angela Herbie.
In small groups of patients, there is an inherited genetic risk, but this is the vast minority of patients. And we typically identify these groups of individuals because of numerous family members having these rare cancers, and many of them being young. When I say young, anybody under the age of 40.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.washu.edu.
An important message from S&L Coins. S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L 544-3600.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
Welcome back, everybody. We are here at the ballpark. Cardinal baseball coming up a little later this afternoon with the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, and Ricky Horton, as the Cardinals round out the series against the Cincinnati Reds. All right, yesterday we had a big day in Cooperstown, and it started off with Joe Buck going, and the broadcast wing, or the Ford Frick Award winner, is what he was able to achieve yesterday, and we thought we'd give you a little bit of that, as well as going back into the Wayback Machine, having a chance to hear Cardinal Hall of Famer and also now the Buck O'Neil recipient, Bill White, with a conversation with Bob Gibson and Mike Shannon from Live at Shannon's version. So stick around, folks. We have some fun in this half hour for sure, but we'll start off with Joe Buck.
It is really hard to watch your life flash before your eyes and not get emotional. Thank you for that beautiful piece that was done, I assume, by MLB Network. This is special. I just want to start by saying this is the highest award, the most memorable award, the most prestigious award anybody in my profession can receive. And I am so honored to get it. I want to start by thanking Jane Forbes Clark, the chairman of the Hall of Fame, the Frick Award voting committee for this honor, To my new friend Paul Hoynes, Hoynesy as I now call him, congratulations from all the Bucks for your incredible body of work. I want to thank and congratulate Rick Monday, my longtime friend. This country needs more men like Rick Monday who acted decisively and followed through on his beliefs. And then to the beautiful, wonderful, amazing Bill White, who my dad absolutely adored. They got to work together on CBS Radio, and if my dad adored him, that's good enough for me. So, Bill, it's an honor to share the stage with you. It is hard for me to do something like this and not make it all about my dad, but I'm going to try. With apologies to Lou Gehrig, I want to take the next 10 minutes to try and convince you that I am indeed the luckiest man on the face of the earth, at least when it comes to calling this great game into a microphone. Lucky in many ways. I was in the crowd in 1987 when my father, Jack Buck, was given this Ford C. Frick Award. I was 18. That's 39 years ago, and my seatmates that day are here with us this afternoon, and more on them in just a second. I'd never heard of Ford C. Frick, but I saw the look on my father's face when he found out that he was receiving it. And I saw the immense pride that my dad had as he stood on that stage. Back then, they did it during the main induction ceremony in front of the Hall of Famers, and talked about the honor he felt being the eyes and ears of Cardinal fans when he sat in the best seat in the house and told them how their team was doing that day or night. And that's really where my story began, doing the same thing for those fans as I sat next to my dad and Mike Shannon. It actually began 2 years prior to that in Louisville, AAA, calling the Louisville Redbirds with my great friend Jim Kelch, the lead announcer, who was the perfect partner to a then 19-year-old who was learning what it took to do baseball day after day and give it your best. That quickly led to, thanks to nepotism and the novelty of having Jack Buck's kid call Cardinal games, what I consider to be the best gig in the business. Hired by Mike Rorty, Anheuser-Busch, and the ball club, I got my baptism by fire at 21 years old. It was my own little personal game of Monopoly as I got to pass go and leapfrog over many people who were broadcasting in the minor leagues who were far more qualified to call big league baseball than I was at that stage in my life. Believe me, I felt the guilt back then. I heard the criticism. Weirdly enough, I still feel the guilt and I still hear the criticism to this day. But I'm leaving that on this stage today when I walk out of here. I learned to navigate my way as a young person in this business and then as a young father. When I talk about being lucky, I'm speaking about many things, not just my profession and what I get to do for a living. I mean, yes, I've been incredibly fortunate, but I became the luckiest person when I became a father. Father to Natalie Elizabeth Buck in 1996, and then 3 years later to Trudy Kathleen Buck. Not only was I a new dad in 1996, but I was also, after 2 years of doing the NFL on Fox and working for the great David Hill, given the chance to be their lead voice covering Major League Baseball. David, Ed Gorin, John Filippelli gave me that chance and gave me their vote of confidence every day, every year. There is nothing better or more important for a young announcer in the high-stakes game of network television like knowing you have the trust of the people who are your bosses, and I knew I had it. It makes you impenetrable to the slings and arrows of the Rudy Martzkis of the world, if you know, you know, and the latter-day Rudys on Twitter. Our first year was 1996, the beginning of the Yankees' run under the great Joe Torre, a Hall of Famer I first met in our house in the 70s at a poker game that my dad had arranged when I was about 4 or 5 years old. Flash forward, there I am sitting in his office in October of 1996, asking him questions about Derek Jeter and the Core Four, with Don Zimmer on his couch listening, probably thinking, who the hell is this kid? With Tim McCarver next to me. What a gift Tim McCarver was to my career and to my life. He gave me, yes, please, applaud. He's a Hall of Famer. He gave me instant credibility, and he didn't have to. I loved him. He had done 2 years at CBS with my dad a handful of years earlier, And now here I was acting like a big shot, calling him Tim instead of Mr. McCarver under the bright lights of national postseason baseball. His daughter Kathy is here. His grandson Bo Root is here. He was so proud of both of them, and I'm proud that they're here for me today. I loved Tim McCarver. Can't tell you how much that means to me. But here's where the divide in my career and my father's career, as far as I'm concerned, happened. And this is why I will walk off this stage proud of myself as a Ford Frick Award winner from the Hall of Fame. While my dad was predominantly the eyes and ears for Cardinal fans, I became that for Fox Sports. I was given that responsibility, and it was heavy at times, but my God, it is the best job and the most fun you can have in this business, in any sport. Broadcasting the World Series, the MLB All-Star Game, there is nothing better than that. My opportunity knocked at the perfect time in 1996. The Yankees won also in 98. And they're back. They're back on the map if they ever left, but they hadn't won in a while. 2001 World Series, and the weight of a heartbroken city and country after the attacks of 9/11 and the first pitch by President Bush, still one of the most powerful moments I've ever seen on a sporting field. The Diamondbacks winning it all in 7 on a walk-off hit against Mariano Rivera. 2002, the year my dad died, in June, when ironically the Angels were in St. Louis, and then months later, there they are winning it in a thrilling 7-game series. I won't go year by year, but I'll talk about a curse that was broken in 2004, an 86-year-old one, and I got to remind the nation that Red Sox fans had longed to hear that their team had won it all. The White Sox the following year with almost flawless pitching and timely hitting. My Cardinals, yes, I said that, my Cardinals, winning in 2006 and again in 2011. When I got to tip my cap to my dad and use his line from 20 years earlier. And then a few years later, 108 years after they had last won the World Series, this St. Louis kid got to scream that the Cubs had finally won it all into a microphone. Am I lucky? Yes, I am. Because sitting in this crowd is my beautiful wife, Michelle Beisner-Buck, who I adore, and who I work with at ESPN. And as a little diversion from my prepared speech, right behind her is my partner, now at ESPN, but for 25 years in the NFL booth, the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. And it means the world that you're here with me right now. But sitting to the right of my wife are our boys, Blake and Wyatt, who absolutely light up our lives. What an unexpected present from heaven those 3 people have been to me and to our entire family. Our boys will have their chance to find their own halls of fame with whatever they do in life. My son-in-law, Bobby Chapchak, who was the perfect husband to my Natalie and will be a tireless father someday. His cousin, Connor Neiman, who was my baby girl, Trudy, with my baby girl, Trudy, and has made her so happy, and consequently us so happy. My mom, who's right in the center of this thing as I'm looking out here, who was the biggest reason why I am up here, and who I sat with in 1987 honoring my dad. Carol Linsnick Buck, and I'm using Linsnick today, Mom, don't get mad. You are the rock of this family. You covered for so much for our traveling father and did so unselfishly. My sister Julie, yes, Carol Buck, yes. My sister Julie, who has gone from my sparring partner to my best friend and confidant. She knows where my bones are buried, and I couldn't do any of this without her. Her husband Jeff and their boys Matt, Jack, and Ben, I thank them for their love and for being here. Steve Horn, sitting next to Troy. He's my quote-unquote editorial consultant, a term that we just made up because you can't really describe what he does. I stole him from Costas. He made me better every game, and he gave me his knowledge unselfishly. He is brilliant and the perfect partner to hit the road with. My dad told Steve when he started working with me in 1996 to quote-unquote take care of his pup. Steve has done that and more. We've laughed all over this country together, week after week, sport after sport. I've worked with and for great human beings. Eric Shanks, my boss, And friend for many years at Fox, his top lieutenant, Brad Zager, who made work fun. Judy Boyd, Jacob Ullman, the best of the best. Production people, the two greatest directors this sport has ever known, in my opinion, Bill Webb and Matt Gangle. They knew where my mind was going and my words were leading before I did. I never had to overtalk because they told the story with their talent and the pictures they chose. Game producers, I mentioned Flip, then the genius of Michael Weissman, who was one of one, and finally Pete Macheska, a sweet man who is literally the most underrated producer in television sports. He is here as well, and it means so much to me that he drove down from Saratoga. Probably saved him money, as he was going to bet on horses today, but he's here with us instead. He is in the category of people I dearly miss seeing every October. He finished producing baseball, and the game will miss him. Aaron Stoikov will take over and do great with his own spin on how to present the game. Brian Biederman, Wayne Fiddleman, thank you for all you helped me with. The MLB crew was always so good to me. The commissioners during my time, both Bud and Rob, felt like allies, and I didn't take that for granted.
There you have Joe Buck, and we will have the entire speech. You can get it online here at KMOX. We need to take a break. When we come back, talked a little bit about Bill White and his relationship with Bob Gibson and Mike Shannon. You don't want to miss this story. It's coming your way next on KMOX.
America is turning 250 this year, and Circa Sports is celebrating by offering all users in Missouri $250. For everyone in Missouri, all you have to do is deposit $250 on your Circa Sports app, then play through that deposit. Once you do, Circa Sports will reward you with $250 right in your account. This is available for everyone in Missouri, new and existing users. Celebrate 250 years and find out more at circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older and in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Another app for inventory, one for CRM. Oh, don't forget accounting. Wait, which login was that?
Or you could use Odoo, one fully integrated system that does it all without the hassle. Ditch the app overload. Get everything your business needs on one platform. Try Odoo free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. The wait is over. The displays are now open at the Reserve in West County, a prime location at Manchester and Highway 109. The Reserve is an outstanding community with serpentine streets, extensive trails, and our own neighborhood park with a pavilion, gazebos, playgrounds, and more. Come tour our popular Hamilton Ranch or our luxurious Turnberry story and a half. Visit McKelveyHomes.com. It's time to move up to McKelvey.
After a serious car crash, the bills start piling up fast, and the insurance company isn't looking out for you. That's why you need Cantor Injury Law in your corner. Call 314-628-9999 or visit CantorInjuryLaw.com. Injured, you can count on Cantor.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
In a county full of slick politicians, one man never got the memo. Jake Zimmerman. He may not be cool, but as county assessor, Zimmerman delivered. Here's Jake.
I stopped casinos taking money from our schools and cracked down on wealthy developers dodging taxes.
The St. Louis American called his office a model of respectful competence, and the Post-Dispatch just endorsed Zimmerman in his campaign for county executive for his pledge to take the drama out of county government. As county executive, he'll make life more affordable and stand up to MAGA's attacks on our rights.
I'm not flashy, but I get results, and I've got your back.
Then there's Brian Williams. Williams voted with MAGA Republicans to open the door to extreme abortion bans, and now MAGA is bankrolling Williams with $150,000 in donations. Brian Williams and MAGA can't be trusted. Jake Zimmerman is on our side. Paid for by Citizens for Jake Zimmerman. Jeannie Kirkton, Treasurer.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
In St. Louis, the weather can change in an instant. Stay prepared for whatever Mother Nature throws your way. When weather threatens, the KMOX Storm Center has expert forecasts and live reports here to keep you safe and informed. Don't get caught off guard. Know your weather. Sponsored by
Seliga Heating and Cooling.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
Welcome back, everyone. 10:51 on a Sunday morning. Sports on a Sunday morning here from the ballpark. Cardinals in Cincinnati get it going here in just a bit as they finish up their 3-game series before the Cardinals host the Chicago Cubs for 4 before going back out on the road. All right, before we went to the break, I wanted to give you a heads up on a night at Mike Shannon's, and we talk about Bill White being the Buck O'Neil recipient this year at the Hall of Fame and his relationship with his old roommate, Bob Gibson, and Mike Shannon. I'll let these guys take it from there.
I'm kind of getting emotional. I don't get emotional. I'm not going to cry, Mike, so don't look at me.
How come you didn't get emotional when you hit me? After I got traded?
That didn't count.
I got emotional.
You were family, you know.
Well,
that's like hitting your brother.
I was no longer family, though, right?
First of all, he got warned.
Yeah, I know. I heard that one. You did warn him. Say, don't be doing that.
Well, wait a minute. Walk us through that story. Tell us about it.
No,
what happened.
People heard that. And not only that, it's painful.
They heard this story a million times, and if they didn't, I'm going to tell it
But
again.
I'll tell you what I liked about it, before you hit him, though, you threw the one inside, and he dropped the bat, and he thought he was hit. He yelled before the ball got there.
No, that's a little embellishment on the story.
But Bill, he and I...
How much time do we have?
Plenty.
Oh, my God. I got to hear this again for the 50th time.
And I'm going to tell
I got hit once.
Now, let me tell you.
You think I got hit 50 times, right?
We were talking a while ago about guys forgetting everything, and Bill forgets a little bit. Right now, if you start asking some things about it, he's not quite so sure, but I know exactly what happened.
Exactly.
And Bill and I were sitting in the dugout and just watching the ball game. And, a lot of times you sit in the dugout and you don't pay much attention, but we pay pretty much attention to what's going on, regardless of our conversation, in which we're talking about all kinds of things. And I said, Bill, one of these days you're going to be traded. And
No, you said, Bill, you're going to get traded.
And then I said, in fact, you are going to be traded.
Right.
And I said, you know what, you like to reach across the plate, and you like to take that outside pitch and pull it. And I said, well, that's good sometimes. I said, but if you ever face me and you pull that outside pitch, I'm going to hit you. Because the outside pitch should be hit the other way. If you hit it the other way with some authority, I don't have any problem with that. But if you reach out there and pull the outside pitch, it means that you have total disregard for the ball that might come inside. And I said, so when you get traded, don't do that. So lo and behold, Bill's traded to Philadelphia. And the very first time I meet him, I'm pitching against him, he's playing. I don't know why they put him out there against me, but he's there. And I threw him a ball, and the pitch wasn't really a good pitch. He got a base hit right past the first baseman. That was fine. It wasn't a good pitch. I had no problem with that. So the next time up, I'm going to throw him a ball away, and I threw him a ball about 5 inches outside, and he pulled it foul over the first base, over our dugout. We were in first base. He pulled the ball foul over our dugout. Now, that means he wasn't thinking about a ball inside at all. And as he pulled that ball, I said, oh, Bill, come on, man. And I'm talking to myself. You can't do that. So the next pitch hit him right in the elbow. And so he's running to first base, and all kinds of expletives he's calling me.
My dear former friend.
And he's screaming and yelling, and he's yelling at me, and I'm just looking at him. And I don't say anything. And so now the game is over, and Bill and I are going out to dinner. Hardly ever did I associate with anybody on the other team, but Bill and I were roommates, and we were teammates and the whole thing. But, on the field, you're enemies. So we got to dinner. Bill says, "You know what?" I said, "What?" He says, "You're crazy." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, you hit me. I said, "Bill, I warned you. I told you about the ball outside. The ball outside, you have to hit it the other way. And if you hit it this way, it shows that you had totally no respect for me whatsoever. So, Bill, don't ever do that again."
Who picked up the check? I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure out who picked up.
I'm not sure who paid, but he was really mad at me.
Bill White, Mike Shannon, Bob Gibson. Boy, those were the good old days. All right, coming up in the next hour, we'll have a chance to visit with Jenn Siess, talk a little bit about St. Louis City, who's on a roll. Chaim Bloom will talk to us a little bit about Cardinal baseball and what's going on there. And, of course, we end the hour with our good buddy Bernie Miklasz. So stick around, folks. Hour number 2 is just around the corner. And, of course, you can only hear it here on KMOX, the voice of the Cardinals, and certainly the voice of St. Louis.
Many times, a person hires a law firm after an injury without doing research. It can be a big mistake or not. Sometimes, after you have hired a certain lawyer, you realize you made a certain mistake. But guess what? Just because you hire them doesn't mean you can't fire them. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you think you've hired the wrong firm, you may have. So do this. Google Morgan & Morgan results or visit forthepeople.com for cases just like yours. You may find that our full-service injury firm should have been your choice in the first place. Last year, almost 12,000 people discharged their law firm and hired us after further research. We became America's largest injury firm for a reason. Visit forthepeople.com today and let's get started. Or call Pound Law on your cell phone. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Well, I'm sure you're aware, I guess you can all imagine, that not only are we busy, but other reputable companies are also just as busy, if not busier, and it's only going to get worse. So if you know, I know this is tough, but if your system has not been keeping up with your house for just not this year, but last year, the year before, and even the year before that. If you want to quit doing it and just get it done, just call me, Bart Inman, and it's one easy number, the easiest of numbers that sometimes I forget. So write it down. 314-293-2600, Missouri and Illinois, or on the internet, BartInman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Miklasz joins the Gas House Gang Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
The Alzheimer's Association provides free access to experts, disease-related information, and support services. Call 1-800-272-3900 or alz.org.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You just testified under oath you're getting more fiber in your diet, and it was easy? Where is this additional fiber coming from?
Mira Fiber Gummies.
Objection!
It's true. Mira Fiber has 8 grams of fiber to help me get the fiber I need in a day, plus 4 B vitamins for metabolism support. All in one serving.
Overruled.
My gut rests its case.
Oh, that's my line.
Find Mirafiber today at your local retailer from the makers of Miralax. Mirafiber supports metabolism of carbs, fats, and proteins. Serving size is 4 gummies.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. An Islamist terrorist attack in Germany is what that nation's interior minister calls it. A van ramming into a crowd at a pride event in Berlin. The driver getting out and slashing people with a machete. 1 person killed, 29 others injured, some critically. They're hunting a 21-year-old man with a criminal record and ties to Islamist groups. The New York Times reports that President Trump decided not to escalate attacks on Iran because it could drain defensive weapons in the Mideast. Polls show the war is extremely unpopular in America. Congressman Mike Turner, Ohio Republican.
There's bipartisan frustration on Capitol Hill. You're seeing it, Republicans, Democrats that are showing their frustration with how this conflict is being prosecuted.
Nearly 400,000 people evacuated in France and Spain because of wildfires. More protests in Madison, Wisconsin after a deadly police shooting of a black man caught on cell phone video. This is ABC News. Back safely on Earth, parachuting down on a space capsule in Kazakhstan, a U.S. astronaut and 2 Russian cosmonauts after their 241-day stint in the International Space Station. Citing concerns about gun violence, Rochester, New York has banned crowds of 10 or more people in public spaces after 11 p.m. without a permit. Reaction in another city in the state, Buffalo.
My biggest concern is just how people would go about doing their everyday things. Like some people have gatherings like birthday parties and stuff like that.
No, you're taking away the freedom of people. Just get more cops.
I understand the safety issues of things. People want to keep people safe. But at the same time, I thought we had freedom of assembly. I thought we were in America.
Welcome to Philly, LeBron. Signs are up around Philadelphia now that LeBron James announced online he's signing with the 76ers. Joe Varden, an NBA reporter for The Athletic.
No one's saying how long LeBron knew that it was going to be Philadelphia, but those around him did not know.
Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
KMOX on Sunday, July 26th at 11:02, looking at some partly cloudy skies, 90 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Ivy Lyons. Welcome in this hour. An update in a Metro East shooting we've been following. Officers saying with the major case squad of Greater St. Louis, a 16-year-old is the person shot multiple times in Cahokia Heights. This was on Saturday at around 8 p.m. That unidentified teen died at the scene of the shooting. An investigation is ongoing. We also have been following a story on 7-month-old baby Kiyomi Parker. This was the girl fatally shot by a 10-year-old in St. Louis. Well, now we're learning that the father involved in that case is not going to be facing murder charges. A grand jury declining to indict Kamarian Pawnell on the second-degree murder charge. That's according to a dismissal that was filed Friday. Pawnell still faces 3 first-degree child endangerment charges, one of which is related to Parker's death. The Festus Data Center project has been annexed, zoned into city limits, and now developer CRG has signed its development agreement. CRG's Chris McGee saying the next step is listening to feedback from residents.
We've modified our plan, presented a new plan back to the city that was significantly reduced over our original proposal, and now we're in the outreach portion of the project where we're trying to educate folks about the plan, answer questions folks may have about the plan.
McKee says residents will not be paying higher electric bills, and that closed-loop cooling systems should stem concerns about water waste. Illinois is weighing an appeal of a recent ruling calling the state's Rise and Dream Act policies, quote, unconstitutional.
A federal judge blocked the state from enforcing policies that allow undocumented immigrants to get in-state college tuition and other financial aid. It stemmed from a lawsuit brought on last year by the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Illinois and the U.S. Department of Justice's Civil Division, naming Governor J.B. Pritzker, Attorney General Kwame Raoul, and officials from several state colleges. The order remains on hold as an appeal is considered. Haley Hansen, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
We're preparing for a lot more traffic on eastbound I-55 and I-70.
Well, we have additional restrictions coming Monday for drivers in Illinois. I'm Roger Brand. Eastbound 5570, we already have a construction zone eastbound from 203 to Black Lane. Well, starting Monday morning at 6 a.m., they're going to have restrictions where it's down to 1 lane eastbound 5570 from 64 to Exchange before you get to 203. That'll be every weekday, 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the next 5 weeks.
We've got an extreme heat warning morning. That started at 11 a.m. That's going to continue through 9 p.m. tomorrow, and an extreme heat watch to follow through Tuesday evening. Today, sun, clouds becoming very hot and humid. There's going to be the potential for thunderstorms late in the morning. High 97, AccuWeather, real feel around 110 tonight. Partly cloudy, uncomfortably warm, a low of 80. We're looking at 90 degrees outside our studios in downtown St. Louis. I'm Ivy Lyons, KMOX News.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
Well, here we go. Hour number 2 is underway. I'm Mike Claiborne filling in for Tom Ackerman. He's at the Hall of Fame. Hopefully you enjoyed Joe Buck's speech and our chat with, or our visit with Bob Gibson and Bill White and Mike Shannon. That was a lot of fun. This hour, Jenn Siess is going to visit with us. We'll talk some soccer as St. Louis City is playing extremely well. We'll also talk with Chaim Bloom as the trade deadline gets closer, but there are some other things with regard to the organization we'll certainly have a chance to visit with him about. And it wouldn't be a Sunday if Bernie Miklasz wasn't part of it, and we'll have a chance to visit with him on the back end of hour number 2. Cardinals are in action tonight or this afternoon, and they have the Cincinnati Reds for one more. You had to enjoy last night's game. I mean, 7-0. Andre Palante and Gordon Graceffo were really good from a pitching standpoint, and the Cardinals scored early and often, and it was a win they needed considering the one that got away from them on Friday night. So they go for the rubber game today and hopefully win the series. Andrew Abbott's going to pitch. He'll start off for the Reds. He'll pitch for the Reds. And the Cardinals, here's a guy that we don't talk enough about, is Kyle Leahy and how he has grown into the starter role and what a nice job he's been able to do. He was really good in his last couple of outings on the road, and hopefully he'll get some run support today, and bullpen can pull it together, and we can get out of here with a win before the Cubs roll in for 4. And that should be an interesting series. Chicago's kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place, not within striking distance per se of Milwaukee, who's running away with this thing, but trying to hold on to a good playoff spot as far as the wild card is concerned. So, as you know, whenever the Cardinals and Cubs get together, you throw the Weckers out of the window, all the other cliches that we like to use. But it should be fun this week before the Cardinals head out on the road to Toronto, and then also to New York to take on the Yankees. So some good baseball in store. Everything starts today with John and Ricky a little later this afternoon, and hopefully you'll be able to tune in. And if you're not, come on down. Bring the kids. It's Kids Day at the ballpark. A lot of activities for the youngsters. I'm sure water will be in play as well. And if you're coming down, make sure you're hydrated. Make sure you drink as much as you can take because it's going to be a little bit of a scorcher today. We haven't had many of those this year, but today it's guaranteed to be that way. So if you're coming down, be careful, be safe, and drink a lot of water. Let's not get dehydrated. But we will have cooling stations here at the ballpark for you as well. So we want to make sure you're aware that you'll be safe if you get to the ballpark. That's one of the neat things about Busch Stadium. They are fan conscious and making sure that it's a comfortable experience. And 8 runs would make it comfortable too. But we'll start off with just making sure you take care of yourself and don't get overheated as we have baseball this afternoon. So that's what we have on that front. A few other things going on in the world of sports. Obviously, you heard at the top of the hour, LeBron has moved on to Philadelphia. It makes sense if you're a basketball fan because the Eastern Conference is not what I would call that deep. The Knicks won it. I'm not sure if they can win it again. Miami's a little short. Boston gave away one of their best players, so they're going to get out of line here for a bit. The Pacers, they're pretty good, especially if Halliburton can come back, and Toronto is going to be a contending team. So there are some good teams, but Philadelphia has probably the best collection of players from that standpoint. And I know that was a big deal over the weekend where everybody was talking about that. Training camps in the NFL are just around the corner. That's going to be something that we'll hear more of. I mentioned the trade deadline. Shane Langeliers of the A's, one of the guys that you heard his name bandied about, he's done for the year, or he might be done for the year, as he has a torn meniscus. And, it will be something to hear what players are actually out there. And sometimes you'll see a player's name thrown out there, and then the team will see who's going to be interested. and what's the price? And then they'll bring them back and say, okay, now we know what we think we can get for him on the open market, with no real intention on moving him this year. But there are a lot of teams that think that they have a shot, and I'm not sure what that really means with regard to what players are going to be that bit much of a difference maker. And obviously when you think about the Cardinals, you say, are we in or are we not? Well, that's a really tough question, because this wasn't the year they were supposed to be competing at the level that they were. And, they've been up and down here recently, but they're still within striking distance of a postseason position. So my question is, do you sell out to be able to play 2 more games in postseason, or do you stay according to the plan? I think they stay according to the plan and make sure that they have enough resources that when they walk into this season or finish this season going into next season, that we're talking about contending. We're talking about, so this year we had to learn how to compete. And I think for the most part they've done that. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to get it right every day, but they've had some very growing moments. I mean, obviously the Walker and Weatherholt situation has been one that we're all happy with. The consistency of Burleson, he's starting to hit lefties a little bit better. The emergence of Alehi, Palante's pitched well, and Michael McGreevy has been steady. But you still have room for improvement there. Your bullpen, that's still a work in progress. Losing JoJo certainly didn't help. On a really good team, JoJo's probably your second lefty. On this team, he was a guy that really you were counting on even more. But overall, I look at some guys that are in the minors that you're going to have to take a long look at and throw them in the fire for next year. All right, enough of that. We're going to come back. We're going to talk soccer. Jenn Siess is going to visit with us, and she comes your way in just a bit here on KMOX in St. Louis.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance. And now we're customizing this ad for your morning commute to wake you up, which could help your driving. Science says that stimulating the brain increases alertness. So here's a pop quiz. How many months have 28 days? What gets wetter as it dries? What has keys but can't open locks? If you don't want to hear the answers, turn off this Liberty Mutual ad now. 12 months, a towel, piano. Enjoy being fully alert.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Let's hope you never need a personal injury lawyer, but if you do, know who to call before you need one. Mark Cantor and the team at Cantor Injury Law have been helping injured Missourians for over 30 years. Give them a call at 314-628-9999 or visit CantorInjuryLaw.com. Injured, you can count on Cantor.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
We often hear the words retirement and annuity used in the same sentence, but it's important to know that not all annuities are the same. If you're not sure, it may be time for an annuity x-ray. Steve All and the team at the All Financial Group can review your annuity. Call Steve at 636-230-8824 and at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities. Licensed in Missouri and Illinois.
If you hate to paint, do what your neighbor, Mr. Rob Miller from Harvesttown Auto Body in St. Peter's did. He called Rhino Shield. Rob, what was the thought process for going with Rhino Shield as a business owner?
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted.
Rob, tell everyone how the experience was with Rhino Shield from start to finish.
The process that I liked was when you came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. Our building was really faded. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
Are your neighbors jealous?
I would be if I was them.
Thanks, Rob. Now it's time to call 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Genius.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
A small business affirmation from Progressive. Bakery owners, you will be loved today. Every pastry will be flaky. Your cake will make a child's day. Your delivery van won't get sideswiped by a distracted garbage truck driver. But if so, breathe easy, knowing you'll get back to business quickly with Progressive protecting your commercial auto. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Do you hear that?
Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Download to see if you qualify. Not all customers will qualify. Transfer fees may apply. No Albert subscription required. Albert is not a bank. Albert Instant Loans are issued by FinWise Bank, member FDIC. Not an actual client. Terms apply.
Kylie, what's wrong? I just got hit with a car repair bill. I'm behind on rent, and I feel like I can never save any money.
Have you tried the Albert app? Albert is your financial assistant, helping you find ways to save and create custom budgets to actually grow your money. Plus, you can get up to $10,000 for big expenses or advance up to $1,000 fast when you need cash right away.
Albert can get me up to $10,000?
Exactly. Albert spots you in a pinch and helps you grow your money in the long run.
I'm downloading Albert right now.
Download the Albert app and use promo code SMART to borrow up to $10,000 for whatever you need. The Albert app helps you budget better and save more money so you reach your financial goals faster. Download the Albert app right now and use promo code SMART to borrow up to $10,000. Use code SMART to borrow up to $10,000.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
Here we go. Welcome back, everyone. We are here at the ballpark. Cardinals in action a little later, but let's get into some soccer because we had a good one last night. St. Louis City is rocking and rolling, and with us this morning is Jenn Siess. Jen, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Claiborne. I'm good. When we win, I have a great next day. I don't know about you, but I feel great about it.
I bet you did. And, you know, it sounds like this is a habit that we're all starting to like. This team has been playing extremely well. What's been the key? What's been the difference? I know we had the break for World Cup, but these guys have come out playing like a house of fire. So what's been the difference?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the big concerns coming out of a break that long is that it's essentially another preseason, and it breaks, you know, really any momentum you were building. However, all the players in the MLS were just being crushed by the schedule of games trying to get squeezed in before the World Cup. So ultimately for City, I think when it comes to players who had nagging injuries or something that was bugging them, not quite right, Javier Orozco wasn't back from concussion protocol, things like that, it was good. And then Yolanda May and staff really made this, like, really doubled down on the fact that this was not just a preseason where we're going to go back to what we were starting, but you guys have to come back better than you were before. And they did. So I think when you see what's happening on the pitch, especially last night, you're seeing a lot more things that we weren't even seeing in the first part of the season as he was developing the players into his system. So now DeMay has made the structure. He has made it clear to all the players, this is how I want to see the game played on the field. And now they're executing. And they're not only locking in everything on defense with three backs, they are now forming a creative attack. So we're seeing a lot more combination play in the box, in those half spaces that are between the 6-yard box and the 18. When you get in there, a lot more give and goes, a lot more combination play. So really for me, it's a structured system for Yolanda May. Everybody is on the same page. And now everybody's executing what they need to do in the attack, which also then gives each individual player a way to express themselves individually as long as they live within the system. And it's working so far.
Well, you make a great point about the system working. And once guys buy into it, and they see the success, they probably even go at it harder. So question for you, Wednesday and Saturday, you normally don't see games played that close together. How does a team recover that quickly, especially at this time of the year with the weather being so oppressive?
Yeah, for sure. It is one of those things in the MLS where it has been a part of the league for a long time. It does feel like there's been more of those this year, though, this season than before. I'm guessing that has a lot to do with the World Cup break and trying, you got to get a certain number of games in before.
Yeah.
And now we had 5-6 weeks off. You got to get those games in as well. So really, it becomes about rest and recovery. Now, on the West Coast, this is something new this year. Usually in the past, the guys would fly right after the game. So, that's a 9:30 start our time in St. Louis. It's a 7:30 start there, but they're flying into the sun. You're getting here, and you're probably a zombie the next day. You On Demand staff had, worked with the city front office to say, hey, on those West Coast games, we want to stay that night and go ahead and have a recovery session in the morning the following day. So that would have been Thursday, fly back on Thursday. And then Friday really becomes another rest and recovery, comes video. There's some tactical things that you work on. So really it's just making sure the priority isn't so much the training. It's really the key to a condensed schedule like that is to make sure that everybody can recover as quickly as possible. And as you know, too, every athlete's different. So some guys recover really quickly. Some guys take a little bit longer, but really using those days to make sure we are on the same page for the next game and that the bodies are ready to go over, hey, we need to grind more at practice.
Hey, with that said, does it give other players opportunities to really get more playing time? I mean, you only have X amount of subs, but I would think considering the weather, the travel, and everything else, it should probably open up the door to get a free look at some other players who can make a contribution.
Yeah, you said exactly right. The last game against LA Galaxy, we see Miklasz Joyner get his first start at playing that kind of winger fullback position all the way up the field, all the way down the field, which is new for him. This is new. This is a new thing that he's working on at only age 19. So we get to see that. And then last night, of course, you see Sangbin Jong in the spot that maybe the game before we saw Edward Lubin in. Now, some of that is because what Sangbin gives you is 100% different than what Edward Lubin gives you. There's speed versus somebody who's tactically superior on the ball. And sometimes On Demand will do that based on what the opponent's giving you. But you're right, exactly. If somebody hasn't had enough rest and recovery, or they can't go when they do their testing, when they come back in town and see, I'll leave that to the sports trainers. I don't know all that stuff, but they do testing to see how they are standing and how they are working. If your body's not ready for it, then you have to have a good bench to go to. For example, last night, it was nice to see Tomas Ostrak get in, who's been coming back from injury. He comes in, I think in the 83rd minute, 7 minutes later, scores the goal winner. So it was great to see.
So, I haven't talked to you since World Cup. Give me your best World Cup memory, and how does this play into MLS as far as continuing to grow the brand in the United States?
So two things. One, I will say that my on-pitch favorite team was Cabo Verde or Cape Verde. Their Cinderella story run those are the things I love about sports. It's always, awesome to see superior teams like Spain do what they do so beautifully. But to take a team like Cape Verde, whose population size I think is about the size of our Wyoming, and to go as deep in the World Cup as they did just shouldn't happen. So it was so awesome to see that, and the stories that came out of that. Their goalkeeper, Vozina, who I think had, 50,000 followers on Instagram. He does what he does, and now he's got 15 million. So to see something like that on the pitch was great. And, of course, I'm a big Erling Haaland fan from Norway. He's fun to watch. He runs like a rugby player, but he plays soccer. And it was great to see some of those off-pitch celebrations, from the Dutch dancing in the streets to the Scots, drinking Boston out of all the beer they had. And the Viking row was probably my favorite.
Well, it was a lot to have fun with this World Cup, and I certainly hope they build on it. Now, you guys are in action when again?
Yeah, so we're back in action. So the guys have a full week of training, so that's good. They'll be welcome that. So next Saturday, we have a game against Real Salt Lake. So that game is at 7:30 p.m. We'll start pregame on Y98 at 7, and the guys will be at home. So it's nice to have two back-to-back home stands.
Yeah, that's great. To build a little momentum for sure. And being at home, the crowds are getting into it again, and it should be a lot of fun, especially when you're winning. Now, if you guys can find a way to get maybe 2 more goals a game, then I think that leaves make it more fun. But goals are hard to come by in this league. I mean, it's not just St. Louis. You look around, it's really hard. And that's my one concern about the game. I don't need a France England game of 10 goals, but I think scoring is something we've all come to appreciate. And once you guys turn that corner, I think that's going to make it even more fun.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we did have a couple of stunners last night. I think it was New England that won their game 4-1. They were leading 4-0 for the most part. But you're right; those are rare, and soccer recognizes that. All leagues work differently, but in the MLS, you get 3 points for a win. You get 1 point for a tie. So the acknowledgement that if you can even keep the other team to a draw, that's worth something. And then if you do score, right, to win, you have to score goals to win the game, that it is so much more difficult that you get 2 more points beyond a draw than that. So, yeah, you're right. Putting the ball in the back of the net, even though that net looks pretty darn big, those goalkeepers are amazing, and it is really hard to get it back in there. So, for sure, as you start to see, higher quality of MLS being brought into from out, or what we really need to make sure we're doing, and that's a different discussion, is developing United States players that can come into the league as well and really showcase their talent. You're going to see some of that. But also, of course, I got to say, as attackers get better, so do defenders. So it could just be just as hard as well.
That's a very good point you make there. Somebody's going to get better one way or the other because they have to. Hey, yeah. Jen, as always, it's great to hear your voice. Keep up the great work, and let's keep this city thing rolling, man. Let's get another one next Saturday night.
Thanks, Mike. Go City.
All right. Thanks again. She's Jenn Siess. I'm Mike Claiborne. When we come back, Chaim Bloom will visit with us. We'll talk some baseball, Cardinal baseball, after this.
Industrial automation is complex, but navigating it doesn't have to be. Like a trusted trail guide, Graybar's automation specialists help organizations reduce uncertainty, mitigate risk, and plan their next steps. From evaluating existing systems to connecting you with trusted technologies and business partners, we help future-proof your automation so your team can operate with confidence, today and tomorrow. Yep, Graybar does that.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
KMOX Weekend at your service. Sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation.
Looking for a career change? Well, the Gelman team with eXp Realty is hiring. Their unmatched blueprint to success, real support, and proven systems help agents take their business to the next level. Level up your future and earning potential. Take the first step at thegelmanteam.com.
Summer is here. Time to enjoy baseball, barbecues, and the shade of your trees. When it comes to tree care, call the certified arborist at Gamma Tree Experts. Hi, I'm Tim Gamma. Protect your valuable trees from storm damage or devastating insects such as the emerald ash borer. Knowledge and quality are hallmarks of our reputation. For pruning, spraying, fertilization, or removals, call Gamma Tree Experts today at 314-725-6159 or visit us at gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
Summer air should feel fresh, not full of dust, allergens, and whatever winter left behind in your vents. Your air ducts are the lungs of your home, and if they're dirty, you're breathing it in every single day. This month only, get your air ducts clean starting at just $599 per unit. That's cleaner air, better efficiency, and a fresher home guaranteed. Call 314-474-2020. You can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com. Ask for the DGS special, ZeroResSTL.com.
In a county full of slick politicians, one man never got the memo. Jake Zimmerman. He may not be cool, but as county assessor, Zimmerman delivered. Here's Jake.
I stopped casinos taking money from our schools.
and cracked down on wealthy developers dodging taxes.
The St. Louis American called his office a model of respectful competence. And the Post-Dispatch just endorsed Zimmerman in his campaign for county executive for his pledge to take the drama out of county government. As county executive, he'll make life more affordable and stand up to MAGA's attacks on our rights.
I'm not flashy, but I get results, and I've got your back.
Then there's Brian Williams. Williams voted with MAGA Republicans to open the door to extreme abortion bans, and now MAGA is bankrolling Williams with $150,000 in donations. Brian Williams and MAGA can't be trusted. Jake Zimmerman is on our side. Paid for by Citizens for Jake Zimmerman. Jeannie Kirkton, Treasurer.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Congress doesn't need more politicians. For nearly 30 years, Joan Von Dross dedicated her life to helping students learn, grow, and succeed. Now she's running for Congress to fight for lower healthcare costs, stronger public schools, and a more affordable future for Missouri families. Teachers solve problems. Politicians play politics.
I'm Joan Von Dross, Democrat from Missouri CD2, and I approve this message. Vote for me on August 4th.
Paid for by Von Dross for Congress.
From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
Welcome back, everybody. We continue with sports on a Sunday morning. We shift gears and we talk a little baseball with the president of baseball operations. He is Chaim Bloom. And Chaim, I'm sure you're rather talk to me because you've talked to everybody else in baseball this week about teams wanting to make a deal here and there. So I'm going to be very comforting to you today. How are you, sir?
I always enjoy talking to you, Claibs. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I won't say fantastic. It's been one of those weeks, but it's good to talk baseball because there's so much going on and a lot of hurrying up and waiting. But my question for you is, as you look at teams that may have an interest in your personnel, you may have an interest in their personnel, do you have a checklist with regard to what qualifies a person that you'd be interested in? Because, I've always been the one that says, if a guy's available to you, I want to know why he's available. And beyond skill, is it character? Is it just maybe you have a backlog at a position? I mean, what do you go through in order to qualify a person that you'd be interested in acquiring?
That is a really good question because we do think about those same things. You have to think about them because, if you think you have a chance to get a talented player, you always have to wonder what might this other team know that we don't. That is the reason this guy is available. Now, the reality of it is, sometimes teams are just in different situations. Mm-hmm. You could have a situation where somebody is, moving veterans that don't fit them in the moment, or you could have a situation where they're willing to move a young player because they have a certain need or because they might have a surplus at that position. So sometimes that's a little more obvious. We all understand in this game you have to give to get, and everybody's too smart, too sophisticated in this game to be able to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. So you don't want to look too hard. If the talent's there and you've done your homework, then, you can go out and make an acquisition with some confidence. But to me, a big part of what we try to do, a big part of how we rely on our scouts, especially now in this age of so much information, is to get the information that we can't see with what we gather objectively. Understand what makes this guy tick. Understand how his coaches perceive him. Understand what's going on behind the scenes. And you try to make as educated a guess as you can based on all the information that you can get of how this player might fit into your mix, both between the lines and then in the clubhouse.
Let's talk a little bit about your system, your farm system. You've having some guys that are starting to really make a name for themselves. We've heard a great deal about Bias, but there's some other players that are starting to make that move in a direction that of this season of evaluation, I'm sure, starting to check some positive boxes for you.
Yeah, it's been cool to see. I mean, obviously with young players, it's never linear. There's going to be ups and downs. We know that. Nobody's perfect every time out at that stage of their careers. But it's exciting. On any given night, you look at, who the arms are that are taking the ball for us, and there's usually multiple really exciting guys that you can very easily envision pitching here at Busch Stadium and getting outs in the big leagues. And then on the position player side of it, we got a number of guys that are really hitting their stride. Really cool. I understand the offense in the minor leagues this year is accelerated, and so that's certainly part of it, but still really cool to see our Peoria club set their franchise record for homers, and we're still not even at the end of July, which just shows you that we've got some talented guys who are driving the baseball.
Well, that's good to hear. Hey, for you, as I mentioned earlier, this is that time of the year where, teams are starting to feel each other out with regard to maybe making a deal. And you still have some teams that are trying to figure out, are they buyers or sellers? When do you think things will start to heat up? And what position are you hearing more about? I would think pitching. Everybody's looking for that. But is there another position that seems to be garnering some more interest compared to some seasons in the past?
Yeah, it's interesting. It actually seems to me to be evenly split. Obviously, nobody ever feels like they have enough pitching, but bats are in short supply, right? Offense is tough to come by in the game, especially guys that can also do some things for you on the bases or defensively. So, right now it's really just about good players. I think the reality of it is with the deadline, like so much of the action happens right near the end. That's just usually how it is. But there are always exceptions to that. We're going to start seeing trades take place kind of throughout this week. But, especially with so many clubs bunched up, a lot of the action is going to be closer to the end. I think, in terms of looking at it as buyers or sellers, there's obviously some teams that might plant a flag firmly in one or the other. But to me, the deadline is always an opportunity just to push you towards your goals, just to build whatever it is that you're building. There's different forms that can take, but it's a chance if you have your finger on the pulse and you're in touch with every club and you know what they're trying to accomplish, there might be opportunities that you might not have foreseen coming into the week. And if you have a good process and good communication, you can snag some of those potentially.
Yeah, I would think that teams have to be careful of not making lateral moves just for the sake of saying, well, we made a move, and you look up and you say, well, this is the same guy we just moved. I mean, we already have one of them. And I would think that for some teams, they have to be careful with that. So in your position, how patient do you have to be, but also not necessarily make sure you miss the golden opportunity?
Yeah, I'd love to tell you it's a perfect science. It just isn't. There's always some art to it and some instinct just on when the right time is to strike. And it might not be when you think. You might have a player and say, well, if there's something that involves this player, it's going to happen right at the buzzer. And then 24, 48 hours before the deadline, you're staring at something that your gut tells you, this is the time to strike. But, again, there's not necessarily one perfect way to do it. I think, to me, it's just you try to be open to different things, understand that everybody else is trying to, you don't control what other teams do, who they like, who they don't like, how badly they want them. You control what you do with the decisions that are available to you. And so you just want to try to make sure you have that information and that you're working ahead as much as you can to understand what players might be available, how do we value them, what might be the price. But, and then even beyond that, there might be guys that we want to get aggressive and go target. If we know someone could potentially be available and we think they fit what we're trying to build here and what we're trying to put together, you can stick your neck out and try to go get them. But again, it takes two to tango. You always, in those cases, you do have to move at the pace that the other organization is willing to move.
How much has this changed from when you first started? I mean, obviously there's a lot more information available as far as qualifying a guy and whether they can help you or not. But how much has it changed for you from being in that room where you have your staff, and I'm sure the staff has increased immensely from when you first started, to be able to sift through all the information and as well as being able to disseminate the opinions of your scouts and your people within your own organization?
Yeah, I think some of the biggest changes, yes, there is more information. There's no question about it. And, if you want to do the right things this week and you want to land where you're hoping to land, you just do have to raise your standards as far as what it means to really do due diligence on a player, both in terms of the player's ability and what they contribute on the field, and then in terms of who they are off the field. I just think that's advanced so much more than when my career started. Understandably so. Clubs are always looking to compete, and you want to set the standard. It's always going to be further out in front of where you might have thought it was, 5-10 years ago. But I think the biggest change is just, too, that I think clubs are a lot more fluid and a lot willing to consider a lot of different things. Again, you talked about it. Sometimes maybe you end up splashing around a lot and not really swimming, but you notice more clubs, even if they would say, hey, we're buyers, we're sellers, there's just a wider variety of things that a lot of teams are willing to consider. So that leads to more conversations, but it also means there's more stuff to sift through as to figuring out what's actually real.
And I would also think that while there is a guy you have your eye on and you may have conversations, that doesn't mean you may not be able to double back after the season or going into next season to get that player, knowing what the price might be, and maybe the price changes at that point as well.
That definitely happens. I can think of, especially in particular, one prominent example that comes to mind from earlier in my career. One of the most consequential trades that I was ever a part of. Now, this was early on. I was nowhere close to the decision chair, but I was in the room. And that trade was an off-season trade that the kind of the seed of that was planted like 15, 20 minutes before the deadline. And it was one of these things that, just kind of got thrown out in conversation between two clubs. And it was like, hey, this is kind of interesting. There's no way we're going to be able to work on this right now. It's with 15 minutes to go, but let's keep this in mind. And it ended up coming together in a very similar form in the off season. And so that can happen. Sometimes you plant that seed and you never know where it goes.
Well, hopefully you'll plant seeds that will produce great products. And I'm looking forward to watching how this thing unfolds. Sometimes the best deals are the ones you don't make. So we'll see how things unfold for this year, and happy hunting regardless. Chaim, as always, it's good to talk to you, and we'll see you around. I'm sure we'll be conversing between now and the deadline again, and more importantly, have fun, and may you get your person you're looking for, whether it's for now or for next year.
Thank you. Yeah, we're looking forward to a fun week.
All right. Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you soon. Chaim Bloom, ladies and gentlemen, always good to visit with him. And I know some will say, well, are we buyers or sellers? I don't think anyone knows. And I would even put Chaim in that category, considering how things are faring. I think they have a plan. I think they have a process. And I think they want to stick to it as close as they can. But you know what? It depends on how you play and what this looks like a week from now. So I would just say stay tuned. Keep your powder dry. We'll be okay. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll finish things up with Bernie Miklasz. Stand by, everybody. We're coming back with more on KMOX.
The radical left let crime and drugs pour into our nation, and they let biological men into girls' sports. But here in Missouri, if there's a problem, we fix it. That's why Ann Wagner's fixing the mess the radical left made and delivering for us. Wagner voted to ban biological men from competing in girls' sports, and she voted to fund the police and provide more resources for Border Patrol agents, keeping our families, communities, and children safe. And Ann Wagner didn't stop there. In Congress, Wagner passed the largest working-class tax cut in American history, kept big government out of our business, protected our way of life, and ensured our communities remain safe. That's why Ann Wagner's endorsed by the Missouri Farm Bureau and Missouri Fraternal Order of Police. Vote Ann Wagner for Congress on August 4th.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Straight Talk Wireless presents Pickup Truck Wisdom.
If you're only good to your new friends, you're not going to have any old ones. Straight Talk gets it. That's why new and existing customers get free 5G phones on Verizon's 5G network. Pretty simple, really. You keep good people by being good people.
Find us at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Straight Talk Wireless. Straightforward. Always. Taxes and fees apply. Plan purchase required for free phone offers. Copyright 2026 Verizon.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
The wait is almost almost over. Tickets for the 39th annual Budweiser Guns N' Hoses go on sale Friday, August 1st. It's a night to remember. Thanksgiving Eve, November 25th at Enterprise Center, as local responders step into the ring for the Backstoppers. Every ticket purchase supports the Backstoppers, providing financial assistance to families of fallen and injured heroes. This event sells out fast. Grab your tickets now at stlgunsandhoses.com on August 1st.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Shows Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job...
Hey, Rockstar. Let's look at your account.
When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything.
Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
What do parents think of back to school at Staples, where 24-pack Crayola crayons are just 50 cents?
Staples has folders, notebooks, and pens at great prices.
I'm smiling from ear to ear.
It's the most wonderful time.
Mom, I missed the bus of the year.
It's a wonderful time at Staples, where school supplies start at just 25 cents. Staples.
That was easy.
Visit your local Staples today or shop online and in the app. Ends 9/12. Exclusions apply.
Bernie Miklasz on KMOX is sponsored by Salika Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. From KMOX Sports, this is the Gray Bar Sports on a Sunday morning. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. Now from the Stifel Financial Sports Studio.
Welcome back, everybody. We round things out with my good friend Bernie Miklasz. And Bernie, good morning to you. And secondly, I don't know if you heard me talking to Tom Ackerman about our last time you and I were at Cooperstown and how the natives, well, they weren't too kindly to the foreigners that particular weekend.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. You bring back some memories. Like, we were trying to figure out after the work was done and everything else, and we had some time. We said, well, where can we go in town? It's just like maybe we're, it's kind of maybe a little out of the way place, and it's really cool, and, it's not a big mob scene or whatever. And so I don't remember the name of the place, but somebody directed it to this place, and we walked in and just some quick background, that area of New York has got some incredibly wealthy people, right?
A lot of blue blood there.
A lot of blue blood, right? James Fenimore Cooper's ancestors and all that. Anyway, we walk into this place and I like half expected like the police to show up or something. I mean,
if there was a SWAT team available, they would have been there.
Yeah.
And I kind of liken it to the Animal House scene where when they were in the bar and the guys came up and said, "You don't mind if we dance with your women, do you?" It was kind of one of those things.
I want to just so everybody knows, you and I were at that point, no alcohol had been consumed.
we were just happy to be somewhere, just having a good time.
And we were dressed appropriately. Yes. We didn't show up
violate
wearing
the dress code or anything.
I wasn't wearing jorts and flip flops or anything, right? But they were like, man, who let these vagabonds in here?
And Rob King, if you remember, who was from there.
Yeah.
They pulled him outside and told him, hey, you need to do something about these guys. and Rob said, you go tell them. Just like that. And the ladies were so nice to us, and we went on and had a great time. But every time I think about Cooperstown, I think about that one moment that will never be forgotten. Trust me. And I'm sure they won't forget us.
Those are the kind of memories that the long careers you and I have had. Those are the kind of memories. It's weird. I mean, we all have sports memories. This game, that game, Shea Stadium, Game 7, 2006, on and on and on. But these are like the little memories you have that are just as much fun to remember, but in a completely different way.
Yeah.
It was
all in good fun. Speaking of fun, are you having fun watching this this ball club, but more importantly, with the trade deadline just around the corner, we just were visiting with Chaim Bloom, still trying to figure out buyers, sellers, or just trying to stock up on players for next year.
It's going to be interesting. I'll be glad when it's over, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me too.
It's going to be interesting because, first of all, I think we can count on a couple of things. I mean, nothing's 100%, but pretty high percentage I would put on this. You know, he's not going to go after some big name. With the possible exception, the big name would also be someone that's got multiple years of contract control.
Yeah,
and then right. And then at that point, you know, he would be willing. You know, the Cardinals, man, Chaim Bloom and his group, the amount of talent that is now in that minor league system and how quickly that thing has just grown amazingly, actually. So they do have prospects to peddle if they want to, but I can't see him touching the top tier prospects, or maybe even the second tier prospects, unless they can get someone they need who can help them now, but also help them in, say, for example, hypothetically, 27 and 28. So they're not going to go. I think most Cardinals fans know this. They're not going to go bananas trying to get some walk year starting pitcher where you have to give up a lot. That ain't going to happen.
No,
I'm hoping he gets some help from the bullpen. Sorry. And I mean, it's easy for me or you and anybody else to say, man, it'd be nice to get a bat in that lineup, because let's face it, I mean, the offense has really gone south. And I don't know what bats are available. That's the thing. These hypotheticals are tough for me to talk about because pick a name out of a hat. And from what I can see, there are teams looking for bats. Like the Yankees just lost Cody Bellinger probably for a while with a hamstring. So, I mean, that may create some opportunities to move one of your position players depending on what people are looking for. So I'm thinking at the low end, he'll get some bullpen help. At the higher end, it would be one of those deals where you give up more, but it would be for help right now and help next year and maybe the year after that.
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you. You might find something to get you through this year, but I also want to make sure that if you're going to get somebody, the prospects now should be guys that are coming into spring training competing for a job on this level.
Right.
You know, whether it's the Baez's of the world and some other guys that are starting to make their way. I think what's going to be even more intriguing is the call-ups and who those players will be, so they can get a taste of it. We saw them do this a couple of years ago with Mason Wynn. They brought him up and they said, hey, you're just going to play. And you'll learn on the fly. I don't know. Is that Baez for this year, or is that somebody else? Is there a pitcher? I just think that that's going to be an intriguing element for them, because you want guys ready to go when the season rolls around next year. You don't want to be in a position where, like, oh, I hope we can be competitive. No, we're here to compete. You know, we're here to contend.
Yeah, and that's right. And that also is very much connected to who the Cardinals may trade at the deadline.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
If you trade Dustin May, and nobody would be surprised if that happens, well, you know, first of all, you got Hunter Dobbins, who we know he's ready. But, you know, there's a point in time where Quinn Matthews just needs to get the ball up here.
Yeah.
I mean, he has been phenomenal, and he gets better and better and better. He straightened out some of his issues. So I would look to, you know, now I know that it's a tough situation in this context, because if someone isn't on your 40-man roster and there is a shutdown and they miss games next year, you know, a guy that is on your 40-man roster, like if Quinn Matthews is promoted to the big club, he's on a 40-man roster, which means if there is a shutdown, he won't be able to pitch in the minors.
Exactly.
You know, which is that's kind of a thing you got to factor in.
No, you know, it's a huge flip of the coin. I agree with you, and you know, you have to make some decisions, because these guys are going to need work somewhere, and that 40-man thing, it really restricts you. Hopefully there'll be some smart people in the room that won't let it get to this. But I think it's something that you have to have in the back of your head, just like I think we see guys who are signing these long, lengthy deals because those deals may not be as readily available, because I know the owners would like to reduce the length of contracts. So there's a lot of things that are hinging on what this next season is going to look like, and you just have to be careful on not going the traditional route of what we've seen in the past because that may not exist anymore.
Yeah, this is looming. It's a big cloud looming ahead. And the other thing, we got to see if Lars Nootbaar is going to be here after the deadline. I don't know. I mean, I go back and forth. If I had to bet $2 at the window, I'd say he'd be traded, but I don't have a lot of confidence in that. So it depends on what's offered, right?
Well, yeah, I agree. I think that there's a market for a guy like that. I think the question is, what do you really want in return other than just moving him to give somebody else a spot? So it should be – I just tell people stay tuned. I quit trying to put the crystal ball out there, man. It's too much. But you know what? I like the direction of what Chaim and his team have done so far and just their overall patient approach. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. It's going to make the ball club better one way or the other for sure.
I firmly believe this. When you look at the amazing work that has been done in the player development in the minor league system, and all of a sudden the Cardinals have this treasure trove of really good prospects. They got a lot of them. These guys are on everybody's list everywhere, a bunch of them. And then you combine that with the fact, and they've never had this much young pitching anytime since I've been in St. Louis in 1985. They've never had this much young pitching growing on the vine than they do right now. And so you combine that where, you can see it's setting up nicely for the future. And then you got a club that was, a lot of doom and gloom, Baseball Prospectus said they'd lose 96 games or whatever, this and that. Locally, a lot of people thought they'd be in last place in the Central, which is fine. You got a club that's, granted, not playing good ball, but they're a game and a half out of a wild card spot. My point is, even if they don't get the wild card spot, this team actually did a lot more to this part of the season than most people really would have said, like in the offseason. They would have said, no, that's not going to happen.
No, I agree.
This year, you combine what's going down below, you combine the surprising nature of what's happened in the majors. Either way, this is going to be a successful season for the St. Louis Cardinals.
It's going to be a win for sure. Bernie, I'm out of time.
All right,
man.
man.
Look forward to hearing you and Ollie and everybody later this week and certainly on STL Sports Central. So, folks, always tune in. Bernie, thanks for the time,
Take care.
sir. Have
Love
a great
you, brother.
week.
See you.
All
Take
right,
care.
Same here. He's Bernie Miklasz. I'm Mike Claiborne. Joe Pott is rip-roaring and ready to go. He'll have Cardinal pregame for you and postgame, so stick around, folks, because the Cardinals are on the air in just a bit on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX St. Louis.
It's Tom Ackerman. I talk about them a lot. That's because I believe in them very strongly. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best. You see, when it comes to outdoor living, here in St. Louis, we love to hang out on the patio or the deck or take a look at the new sunroom we just built, new screen room. How about a brand new fence for the backyard? Chesterfield Fence and Deck can handle all of that for you with ease. They're going to make it easy for you. They're going to work within your budget and your dreams as to how your outdoor space should look. They have the best warranties, the best products, the best people, and they've been doing it since 1968. Talk about great experience. Mention me, Tom Ackerman. You'll receive 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Check out their showroom in Chesterfield Valley or visit them online, chesterfieldfence.com. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees when used as directed. Spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Hey, it's Brew, and I feel like everything in my life depends on being connected. Whether I'm uploading a video, hopping on a call before my show, or video chatting with my family back in Michigan, I never have to think about my Wi-Fi. And that's why Xfinity stands out. You get the most reliable, fiber-powered Wi-Fi with the best equipment at one price for 5 years guaranteed. No contracts or commitments. Plus, you can get online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Use of fiber or coaxial cable. Learn more at xfinity.com/same-day Wi-Fi. Xfinity, imagine that.
Looking for a smarter, safer way to invest? For a limited time, lock in a great rate with Together Credit Union's 11-month CD special. From day one, your return on investment is guaranteed. No market swings, no surprises. Just